Welcome to the Entertainment Collective Podcast, your one-stop resource for insights to working in the entertainment industry. I'm Jonathan Pushkar.
And I'm Dallas Jack.
Yeah, Clint Easley down here. Awesome guy. We're here to talk about his work that he does on Hollywood Hunter. So, Clint, tell us a little bit about yourself. If you were to give us the quick, 20-second overview on who you are and what you do, what would it be?
Perfect. Yeah. So, as you said, I work for Hollywood Hunter. We are now converting into a new series called The Maverick. So, I'm just going to reference The Maverick. Same thing as Hollywood Hunter, but it's Hollywood Hunter Productions. And I am the producer and cameraman for the show.
Wow, that's awesome. So take me all the way back. You and I, we go back a little bit, and I heard your story a little bit before. Take me back to the days of being in college and stuff. Where did you start compared to where you are now?
Gotcha. Yeah, so I started out, man, how far do we go? You
all
said
the way.
college.
Go all the way back.
I went to school originally for biology. I wanted to be the heart surgeon. I actually deer hunted a little bit when I was younger with my father, and I found it so fascinating, the anatomy of a deer. So I was like, man, I can do heart surgery after doing that to a deer, no problem. But as I discovered, I am not very good at studying the books. I'm a visual learner, so I transitioned into architecture. So pursued my architecture degree, got a degree, and was hired probably about a month before I graduated. And I just had a simple meeting with the gentleman. Coincidentally, we both love tennis, so it was kind of like signed, sealed, delivered. You have that one thing in common, and sometimes it just syncs well with somebody that I had the gig from there. So I did that. We pursued architecture probably for about 8 years out of college. And then I picked up a camera, and with my photography camera, I went for a hike one day, and we were just going to do some photos of a buddy of mine. He wanted some headshots. And as we're hiking, I get to the top of this mountain, and there's people carrying bags of concrete on their shoulders. I was like, what are you guys doing, if you don't mind me asking? And they said, we're building a prayer box, which I thought was pretty fascinating. So picture Runyon Canyon in Los Angeles. I don't know if you guys have ever hiked Runyon Canyon, but literally just north of the city of LA, you've got this trend. It's kind of a trendy spot where people like to go work out, get up top, and you have a whole beautiful view of Los Angeles. So we get up to the top, they're carrying bags of concrete, and they said they're building a prayer box. And I was like, well, what's the concrete have to do with the prayer box? So they're building a foundation for it. And the reason being is they started with this cool concept. It was, I think, a paper or like a shoe box, then turned into a wood box. And somebody kept taking that box away. And they're like, this time we're building the legit foundation. So they put in a concrete foundation. And then they found the designer from, you guys ever watch Cupcake Wars?
No.
So designer from Cupcake Wars, he's building a steel box that's going to go in this concrete foundation that they're making. And the plan was you leave a prayer, something on your mind, and then take a prayer. There's no specific denomination to it. It's just kind of a cool, thoughtful thing to bring the community together. So that's where I met Freddie, who is the creator of Hollywood Hunter, creator of The Maverick. And I've been working with him from then on. We're about to hit 10 years now as of this year.
Wow.
So it went from architecture, photography, randomly wandering to take pictures of a friend, to opening up a door to now become a cameraman for the hunting show.
Wow.
Really cool. So for those listeners and viewers who are unaware of what Hollywood Hunter / The Maverick is, give us a little synopsis.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about hunting, it's a reality hunting show, but the twist now from Hollywood Hunter to The Maverick is that we're taking people with unique stories. Let's say it's a wounded veteran, a kid that's got some illnesses, like a St. Jude's kid that's always had the dream to go on a hunt. We're going to be opening up those opportunities to take them on a hunt of a lifetime, document it, tell their story through a platform where it can hopefully inspire a lot more people in the long run. And then we'll also be doing a twist within our show series of interviewing maybe some different sponsor brands, and we'll go behind the scenes like Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs, give you kind of that spiel on how this bow company's made, how this gun company's made, and the history behind it, and why those people are a maverick, if you will.
Sure. That's interesting. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
You said you're a producer and cameraman for the show, right?
Yes, sir.
So one thing that I really want to talk about that's really interesting, because a lot of our guests are in the music industry, right? And producer means one thing in the music industry, and in the film and TV industry, it means a totally different thing. So
Okay.
how would you best describe what a producer does for film and TV for people who may not be aware?
Sure, and I'll give you just a breakdown if you guys want a breakdown of what my process is within the producer realm. So when you're pitching a show, what we do is we come up with marketing material and we'll book a trade show. You're going to go to, for instance, I'm going on Monday to SHOT Show, which is in Las Vegas. It's one of the largest ammo and gun conventions in the U.S. And what we do is we'll go there in advance, setting up meetings to talk to different potential sponsors that we think fit our show concept really well. So you have a sit down, you conversate with them, you give them basically in a nutshell, here's our goal, what we're trying to do, here's how you can integrate it into the content, and then if their marketing budget and their marketing goals fit, then in a perfect world we create a contract. So once it turns into contract, it falls onto the producer's plate. It's my job to make sure we're taking care of all the deliverables. I'm planning out every single trip down to the flight, invoicing, processing all the expenses. And then when we get on site, I know exactly what needs to be shot and when it's due and coordinating all that. So it helps to have that cameraman skill because I can then film it, check it off the list. I know it's complete. And then that's the in the field part, right? So you're kind of a field producer / producer for behind the scenes, the operative part of it. Then after all the filming's done, I come back home. Then it's coordination time to get everything triple backed up on hard drives, shipped. We have 3 editors that work with our show. So I've got to triple back up hard drives all over the place, get them to our editors, and then guide them through the steps of what we're trying to do as far as telling the message, here's why I filmed this clip versus that clip, integrate it there, plus trying to tie in all the sponsor integrations too. So there's a lot of moving parts.
No kidding.
You have to be extremely organized to do that kind of a gig, but fortunately that's my skill set. So
Yeah.
So let's talk about your team. So it's who all is involved with getting, let's say, one episode. What does it take?
One episode. So you've got Freddie Hartice. He's the host. He is the pretty face. He's the guy that's kind of maintaining the sponsorship roles, and he's the guy that's endorsing the products. So he's our primary guy that we're filming, and then he'll usually have a guest on the show, whether it's like we were saying, wounded veteran we're taking a hunt, or maybe he's just got a good friend that happens to be going on an elk hunt they planned annually. So you've got your, let's just say, 2 characters, and we usually always have 2 camera guys because oftentimes you might have a hunter go off with a guide if we're at a private outfitter, or you just want to change 2 perspectives because it gets a little old when you're looking in one direction all the time. So between those 2, between a guide, between your 2 camera guys, you've got 5 folks there. Plus you're going to have at least 2 editors touch that content at some point. We usually have somebody that's going to help us on the back end with storyboarding. If it's something we're trying to film specifically to tell a specific message beyond just the show concept already. Mm-hmm. And from there, we send it to the network. So that'll take another person to process that. And you probably we've got a guy that does closed captioning, and the editor will usually integrate the music into it.
What's the relationship like with the network?
Is that 8 or 9 people total?
Yeah.
It's probably a skeleton crew. For the hunting world, it's a little bit smaller niche. So we have to do things, probably wear a little more hats than the bigger companies in Hollywood where they can justify the expense of having everyone do meticulous little details.
Yeah. Got to keep it down for the budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And that's probably a huge part of your role as a producer too, is going through and making sure everything's on budget with everything that you're doing.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
What's the relationship like with the network when you're going through and doing this kind of a show?
Sure. Good question. So we work with Pursuit Channel and we work with Wild TV. Wild TV is a Canadian network. They reach, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably about 30 million households. Okay. And then Pursuit Channel reaches about 40 million households. So combined, we're trying to get as many eyeballs in front of our show as possible. Obviously, we know a percentage of those folks aren't going to watch a hunting channel. but that channel is provided within their channel collection that they have. So whether you're using Comcast, Wave, Roku, anything like that, it's all about getting the eyes out there. But the relationship with the networks is fantastic. We've got Pursuit's kind of like the real sweet Southern country folk, and it's very hands-on. It's skeleton crew also when you think about it. So when you call, I've got specific people. I'm calling Weston, I'm calling Greg, I'm calling Melissa, just different folks there that are going to help me get our deliverables processed. And then everything between them and I is coordinate on timelines. So if they're going to do, let's say it's a special Thanksgiving week, right, and they want to promote deer hunting, they'll reach out to me a month in advance and say, hey, X amount of dates, we're going to synchronize some content that you filmed, promote it, and then pitch it, and then it airs. So it's very similar to how you do a podcast, right? You got to kind of call, forewarn everything, then everyone gets to enjoy learning more about what you got to pitch. So.
Absolutely.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It's really interesting to me how many moving parts there are, obviously, like, if you take a big TV show like The Good Place or something like that, that's huge production, right? But then you scale it down to like, a hunting show like you're doing, and it's the same roles that need to be fulfilled. It's just like how many people are going to take on that burden. So I bet in some ways, maybe it's even harder to do it smaller because you're working with a tighter budget, however many people, you only have 2 hands each, right, to get everything done. So it's really interesting to look at that dichotomy of how, bigger does not always mean better or more efficient. It's interesting to look at.
Right. And I definitely give Freddie kudos because he's been one of those guys that's really good at building the right team. Unfortunately, we've gone through a lot of people, but you have to do that to find the folks that fit that niche, because not everyone's got that organized skill set like I have. I've been fortunate that I had a certain career before all that. I did production through catering events in Beverly Hills and then architecture. So I have certain things I've learned along the way that just happen to hone my skills in, plus a dose of OCD. Then you might have a really creative camera eye, right? So you need somebody that thinks outside the box because you don't want to be the generic TV show. So you kind of have to just keep trying new people out, and unfortunately some don't make the cut, others do, and then you have that core group of people. And then one other funny thing, so we travel a lot. I travel about 120 days a year. Wow. And that's typically in states. Every other year we'll do Africa, or we might do a hunt in Canada, Alaska, somewhere like that as far as further travel goes. But Freddie's big meticulous thing is if you snore, he will not hire you because we spend so much time in hotel rooms through travel that way, or in tents out in the woods. Yeah.
That's sure. Yeah, that's fascinating. So it's really interesting too to look at how, one thing that we explore on this podcast is, people who are getting into the entertainment industry, looking to learn more about other facets, right? So sure. As people are learning about it, I think that that's a really good takeaway. It's not always about being the most skilled cameraman, or it's not always about being the best producer. It really is a mix, and you need to find where you fit. In your case, you are a great cameraman for this. You get it. You're into hunting. If you weren't into hunting, you wouldn't be a good fit for this. So there's a lot of things that go in a blender that make you a great fit to be cameraman / producer for this show that maybe a lot of other people wouldn't quite fit the mold for.
Definitely. And I would highly encourage anybody that's out there that's trying to pursue, whether it's being a musician, a music producer, TV producer, whatever it is, try all the different hats, try learning. And if you're not interested, just try to at least soak up some information, because it will help you to go a different direction later when the time comes. And you never know, for my situation, you never know who, when, where you're going to meet a person. So you just got to always kind of be prepared, keep an edge. I didn't think buying a camera for a hobby would lead into me jumping into a hunting show, turning into a TV producer, filming stuff. I just wanted to pick up a camera to enjoy photography and capture some more personal trips and things. So that was a blessing in disguise. And how often do we go to college for a career and then the whole thing transitions? It's like I just paid off my architecture school loan.
You think? Well, you're structuring a show. You're building a show, so I'm sure that there's some overlap there.
You think you'll ever go back to the architecture gig?
You know what? I just talked to the architect that I work with tonight. I was calling him about some business advice because I'm always going to just try and be entrepreneurial about things.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been one of those people that's been such a good guiding light to always call him, just check in on him, see how he's doing. And he's got great advice for like encouraging me. He's like, hey, you did the architecture thing. You were great at it when you did it, but I'm proud of you for just trying something new and pursuing where your passion is.
Yeah.
Most importantly, that's the big deal. Pursue your passion. And then it's a lot easier to wake up each day and do some work. Doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
So something interesting. It sounds like he plays a mentor role for you. What do you think the most important factor is in finding a mentor in the entertainment industry?
In the entertainment industry, I think first off, see how you click personality-wise. You work with a lot of different people. If there's one person you mesh with, tongue twister. If there's one person you mesh with really well, you know, invest that quality time with them and don't be afraid to ask questions. Mm-hmm. I've even talked to Dallas's dad. He's one of those brilliant guys. We call him a wise owl, and he's willing to provide the information if you're willing to ask for it. So don't be afraid to ask questions, and always just kind of pursue the people that you want to be inspired by. Stick around the people that you can learn stuff from, and just continue from there, I guess.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you're on the road for 120 days a year or more, depending on the year. What is it like having a family when you're in the entertainment industry doing that kind of thing and your job takes you out of the house around the world so frequently?
What family? No, I'm just kidding.
Boy, do I hope they never listen to this.
The quality time is incredibly valuable when you do come home. And I have my days where you get a little homesick. I always say if I did not have FaceTime, I probably couldn't survive doing what I do. So we're really blessed to have technology, just the ability for all of us to be talking the way we're talking right now. This is amazing to me. So that helps a lot. And then I definitely try to spend a lot of time from my home office when I'm not out filming. We'll plan a lot of trips in advance. So if we know I'm going to be gone for a long spurt, typically 3, sometimes 4 weeks is my longer spurts of time away. We'll try to find a way to sync up in the middle, whether it's a 2-day quick break. I'll go meet my wife in Denver when we're filming at the ranch, or we'll do something to break it up. But I think I'm just really blessed to have a very patient wife, and I do my best to make that up to him when I come home and do fun adventures. Lots more dad time with my son, Hunter. He's about 4 years old, so it is tough being away from the kids. But in the big picture, I think she understands what I'm trying to do and trying to set up long-term investment for us, so we can live comfortably financially. And unfortunately, it takes a lot of work to get there.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true of the entertainment industry as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what's on the horizon for you? Obviously, the show is kind of changing to the Maverick, but what are you working on these days?
Yeah, so I have some fun projects brewing. There's one that's kind of off the radar. I haven't brought it up a lot. I think Dallas may have seen some of it, but I'm working on kind of a fun film project with some friends. So I'll be filming in Alaska for that.
Wow, cool.
Anticipated project there is for a film submission. It's kind of a one-off deal that I can do that doesn't eat up too much of my time while trying to do all the production work, but more of a hobby project. And I recently went to the Badlands Film Festival. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but this is their 5th or 6th annual event that they had. And what they do is they encourage anybody from your basic YouTuber to your high-end TV show production to submit your film projects. And it's about 7 minutes long. And what they want to do is just inspire people. Like, anybody can participate for the sake of showing and telling a great story. So I've got a cool idea that's going to tell a little bit of the story of the history of hunting to enlighten some of the millennials that have jumped in and maybe they've got the new modern bow, they've got the new modern camo, and they don't really understand what took place in the 50s and the 40s to get to where we are now. So I want to kind of tell that twisted story in there and hopefully educate a lot of people along the way.
Yeah.
And I have a photography business on the side also. So you're probably wondering where I have all this time. I just don't sleep a lot. Weddings. So weddings and hunting kind of parallel each other. You got a bride and a groom kissing. That's your money shot. Or you have to get the kill shot when somebody's hunting, right? So you don't want to miss the guy shooting the gun or shooting the bow. So there's these 2 high pressure points in those different types of environments. But I don't know. I love it. It's just really funny to film in the outdoors one day and then be at a wedding in Beverly Hills the next.
Two totally different attires too.
Yeah, and planning for those trips is tough because you're traveling and then you've got a black outfit, like nice dress button down, slacks, black shoes. You're in camo over here, and then you go and change over there.
So you talking about Beverly Hills, I clued Jonathan in a little bit about it. I know it's off topic, but we got to talk about it because it's so interesting. The catering job that you had when you were like younger.
Yeah.
Give us the rundown on that, because there's some very interesting nuggets in that.
So I had, just to recap a little bit, with the architecture and always trying to just do a little bit of extra here and there, I took on catering kind of as a weekend thing. And my wife, Jules, and her brother were in the catering world. It was a perfect trending thing, and it might be over in Nashville for a lot of musician folks too, is you're trying to do your auditions by day, and then there's all these parties by night. People are always celebrating something, so they need catering, whether it's serving cocktails and food for a production company, or you're a vendor of some sort of entertainment, right? So they told me about this, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of a people person. I'll give it a shot. It'll break up sitting behind the computer in the architecture office a little bit. So I jumped in there, and it was like, I just loved the interaction. And then it started turning into going from a bar mitzvah and a simple party to being more celebrity infused. So you'd go to a house like, oh, what's going on, Tom Hanks? What's going on, Jim Carrey? Oh, hey. So you just have this weird mix of people that are just living their normal daily lives, having a little bit of catering going on, but they happen to be celebrities. So I got to kind of work around a lot of those people. And I truly think that experience probably helped me out more as far as my acceleration in my photography business, just because I had a better network reach. But yeah, I've had some weird situations working in the catering world.
I imagine. It sounds like there's a lot of running into random stars and whatnot that would happen doing that.
Yes. You guys have a favorite star that I could try to relate to for you?
Oh, Jonathan would be the guy there.
You got to throw a common one at me though. I don't know all the fancy names.
All right. So my favorite actor is Kurt Russell. You ever run into Kurt Russell?
Russell, briefly, not enough time to interact with him, but he was at a bigger event that I was at. I do remember seeing him there.
All right. Hey, you're the first person I've met that like actually kind of knows, well, I wouldn't say knows Kurt Russell, but saw him somewhere. That's pretty cool.
There you go.
So I don't want to stick caterer too long, but thematically, right? You took a job that wasn't necessarily in the entertainment industry, but you were able to network and kind of weave your way back into the entertainment industry, right?
Right.
So important.
Just kind of things just started to happen. You go to a party. I'm the guy serving champagne, and let's say, respectfully, as a caterer, the goal is you're trying to be silent service. You're there to accommodate. You're there to do a lot of things to make their experience better. But ideally, you're trying to be like a ninja and work your way through the room, just offering what they need and not providing questions, not trying to pick on the people. You just want to be under the radar. So that factor was a little interesting in working in that catering world and not being able to talk. But there's always opportunity where somebody comes up to you, and it's not like you're going to be rude and not say anything. So when people ask the right questions, it's okay to give them some answers. And I got kind of to the point where people would bring up conversations enough over time. I'm like, yeah, I do photography too. And they're like, photography, give me your info or whatever. So I'd reach out to them later on out of respect of talking to maybe the vendor I was working for, because I don't want to try to do anything shady about it. You're there working for somebody else. So it's not like you're trying to represent that person and then slipping your card to the side. So I'd always talk to the person, hey, so-and-so mentioned if they get my info, are you okay with that? And then they were usually pretty cool about it.
I feel like that's a common thing in the entertainment industry too, is a lot of these jobs you get into them right off the bat. They don't really pay real well at the starting level. Like you got to work your way up before you're actually making money that'll pay for the rent, right?
Absolutely.
So a lot of people are doing like catering jobs or waiting or whatever it is. What would you say to people that are kind of in that role where they're not doing their dream job as their day job? They're doing their dream job as kind of the side hustle and transitioning into doing the dream job more.
Yeah, I would definitely say that persistence always pays off. As long as you're positive, persistent, and you're doing things to keep putting those steps forward, you're most likely going to end up there at some point. An opportunity will present itself, whether you expect it to or not. It's like going out there in the dating world. You're like, I'm never going to find that girl or guy, and eventually it just happens. So you just have to keep putting those yellow bricks on your yellow brick road, and eventually it'll come together. But you get a lot of people that give up. They'll start catering. Maybe they're doing they want to be the actor. They're doing auditions all day. They cater at night. And then eventually they're like, I can't cater anymore. I'm going to quit this, which then disconnects them from that whole acting opportunity because they're right there in the middle of everybody. So you just got to keep yourself mixed in, keep networking, keep pushing really hard, and also don't take advantage of people. Build friendships first, and work opportunities will come after that. Don't try to use so-and-so just because he's a music guy or use so-and-so because he's a photographer. Have a great friendship with them, and then let business opportunities arise from that.
That's something that's
super important.
Really prevalent too, is the whole like networking mentality of what can you do for me?
Right. I get so burnt out on that.
Oh, it kills me. Because honestly, what you're saying there is when you really get down to what's going on here is we're all people. We all just want connection. We want friends. And you make the best product together when you're doing it with a bunch of friends and you're having a great time.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Just a solid friendship can take you a long ways, especially from a referral standpoint. Mm-hmm. So you want to grow.
Yeah, there's a great quote I heard recently saying the people don't work with people they know, they work with people they like.
That's right.
And so, it's really great. It's really bringing us full circle to one of the first conversations we had in this discussion, talking about how, you might be the best camera guy, but if you're not into hunting, you're not going to be a good fit for Hollywood Hunter Maverick. Mm-hmm. So coming full circle, right? Talking about working with people versus working with people you like. You've got to be the guy that fits in. You've got to be the girl that can deliver. It really is like a pinhole. But I do believe that, with persistence, everybody can find their place in the industry. I really do believe that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's a ton of great stories out there from the people that have done that with the persistence. Like you think of Rambo, Mr. Sylvester Stallone.
Yep, that's who I was thinking of.
Story that we can all relate to right there as far as persistence. So, but that's my highest recommendation is just focus on great friendships and people that are making a difference in what they do and just stick with them. They'll get you there.
That's cool. So at the point in your career where you're at right now, what is the challenges? Like for me, I know there's things that I'm thinking of right now. It's like, this is like always on my mind. This is the next challenge I got to get past. What is it for you?
Yeah. So I'd say right now, we're 8 seasons in with Hollywood Hunter, right? So we're now converting to this new series, and it's Hollywood Hunter Presents the Maverick. So we're not trying to scare away our entire audience. It took a long time to build that audience. So you don't want to just jump from brand to brand. It's a new series, but it's still under the same umbrella. So trying to develop that transition is a new experience for me because I'm not used to transitioning brands. So we're getting new apparel. We're doing new design concepts within the show. We're trying to add graphics, and it's a whole new experience for everybody. But I think that's probably one of my bigger challenges right now, alongside running my business and just finding that fine line of, like you guys had mentioned, like quality time with the family, the workload, doing my other side business operations, and then trying to enjoy life just in general for myself. So it's a interesting mix of things, and I'm still tweaking it, but I feel like 2019 is my golden year.
This is what's going to happen.
This is the year. Yeah.
Awesome. I dig it. Well, this has been a ton of fun to sit down and talk. It's been really cool to hear about the behind the scenes of being a producer in film and television. And man, thank you so much for sitting down with us. This is just a total treat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on here, guys. I really appreciate it.
Really
yeah. In the future, we're friends now.
We absolutely are. If anyone wants to reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
You know what? If we just go with the old school style of @Peak Photography on Instagram, I think folks can find me there. So it's PEAK mountaintop style, PEAK photography. And you can find me on Instagram, or also peakphotography.biz is my website if it's up and running. It's been a while since I've checked.
That's awesome. And at the very end, we love to just do a shout out to you. Is there anything that you want to promote that you've got going on right now that you're saying, go check this out, everyone?
Oh, you know what? I'd like to do a shout out for my buddy from Field to Plate. So Jeremiah Dowdy, great friend of mine, actually had a shirt on, which made me think of it. He's a wild game chef. So if you guys don't actually enjoy hunting, you should check his stuff out, because it's super fascinating on what he can do with wild game meats. And some people will look at him like, you're killing, you're eating, and doing some weird things with them, but it's awesome. Like, it'll inspire anybody that doesn't hunt. So I think he's a great person for the industry and a great leader to help kind of draw more people in that aren't hunters.
Absolutely incredible. Well, this has been a fantastic time getting to hang out with you. Thank you so much, Clint.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Entertainment Collective podcast. Be sure to subscribe, write a review, and follow us on social media.
We hope that what you learned today will bring you one step closer to meeting your goals in the entertainment industry.